With the damages happening in almost every city, we're already starting to hear economists and politicians talking about how this might stimulate the economy. But in this video, I'm going to dive into this discussion to see what the real benefits are. And spoiler alert, it's not what you think. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Moss. I'm the host, and I appreciate you coming by. On this channel, I like to talk about making money, investing money, and just having overall success in life. So if you like those topics, which I'm sure you do, just click that like button, please. I appreciate that. And then hit the subscribe and the bell notification so you're notified every time I put a new video out. Now, as I talked about, there's a lot of damage and destruction happening all around the United States. It's happening all around the world, as a matter of fact. We're seeing cities getting destroyed. We're seeing looting. We're seeing burning. We're seeing all kinds of damage that's happening over and over and over. And we're starting to hear the whispers of the economists and some of the politicians talking about this potentially being an economic blessing. Does that sound ridiculous? Kind of does to me, but it's exactly what we're starting to hear. We hear these economists, these politicians, and they've been saying this kind of stuff for 100 years. And it's because they've all been trained in a version of economics that really was founded by John Maynard Keynes. It's known as Keynesian economics. But could the destruction and rebuilding of a city, could it really end up being a good thing? Could it really bring in new jobs and work? I mean, obviously, if stuff gets destroyed, it needs to be rebuilt, right? So lots of work to rebuild exactly what was happening. But is it a good thing? Is it a net positive? Now, we're going to dive into this. And if you watch any of my videos, you know we're about to go back in time. We're going to jump back into history. You know I love to do that. So let's jump back in the time machine and dial it back to about 1850. And back in 1850, we had Frederic Bastiat, and he wrote an essay titled, "That Which Is Seen and That Which Is Not Seen." And he wrote about the parable of the broken window. And so if you've read any basic economics, you probably know about this. This is the parable of the broken window. And I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes version. I'm not going to read you the whole thing. But the Cliff Notes version is you have a shopkeeper. And the shopkeeper's son is playing around inside and he breaks one of the windows. And the people in the shop, they all tell the shopkeeper, you know what, look, I'm sorry this happened. It's unfortunate. But if the window never broke, how could the window guy feed his family, right? So I get it. It's too bad for you. But look, you're stimulating the economy, and at least the window guy, he's going to make some money now. And he's going to be able to feed his family. And this is the point of view that illustrates how our economy thinks. It illustrates how these economists and these politicians are starting to think about this, that, hey, it's too bad this stuff happened, but by fixing it, it's going to give someone a job. It's going to give someone money. It's going to allow them to provide for themselves. So back to the story, they said that, let's say that if the window guy were to charge $10, then the shopkeeper would pay him $10, right? And by the shopkeeper paying the window guy the $10, it keeps the money circulating in the economy. So it keeps the money moving from one person to the next. That's exactly what the economists want. They want money to continue to circulate. Now the window guy, he's received the $10, he can go pay the butcher for his food. And now the butcher can go pay the tailor for his clothes. You see, so now by me giving the $10 to the window guy, then it goes to the butcher, then it goes to the tailor. And so the money is moving through the system, the velocity of money, all right? But what Bastiat makes point in this essay is he says this only covers what is seen. It misses what is not seen. All right. So what's not seen? Well, because the shopkeeper had to pay $10 for a new window. He had to because it was broken, right? Because he had to pay $10 on a new window, he cannot spend it on another item, right? So if he didn't have to replace the window, he might have been able to go purchase some new shoes. He might have purchased a new book. Basically, he would have been able to spend that $10 on anything that he wanted. But when he spends the $10 to replace the broken window, he ends up with no new shoes. He ends up with no new book. He has no more than he had before. Yes, he has a fixed window, but he already had a window. So instead of getting something new, shoes, a book, whatever, he ends up with nothing new, no new enjoyment, just the same window that he already had before. So in summary, society loses. Society loses the value of things that are uselessly destroyed, right? We need to be producing goods, producing services, and not replacing them, but producing them. And so when things are utterly, or I should say uselessly destroyed, then the value is completely taken out of the economy. And so we don't just need money changing hands. That's not what creates value. It's not what shows that an economy is healthy when money's trading hands. Now, if you don't think that our great leaders, our smart economists, if you don't think they really think this way, let me just point you to a more recent example. This is from the Great Recession, or actually this is back from 9/11. So back in 2001, about 20 years ago. And 3 days after 9/11, Keynesian economist Paul Krugman, who's still around talking quite a bit about this, Paul Krugman wrote an article for the New York Times, and he said basically the exact same thing, and I'm going to quote it for you. He said, quote, "First, the driving force behind the economic slowdown has been a plunge in business investment. Now, all of a sudden, we need some new office buildings. As I've already indicated, the destruction isn't big compared with the economy, but rebuilding will generate at least some increase in business spending," end quote. So what he's saying is that business was already been going downhill, but now all of a sudden, because office buildings got destroyed, even though there's no demand for it, because it's been going down, but since they got destroyed, now we need some new ones. And so even though it's not that big, it's going to be good. It's going to increase business spending. So he said it's good. So right there is the economics of John Maynard Keynes applied in real life. Keynesian economics. Keynes believed that all that was necessary to stimulate the economy was for people to be spending money. He argued that it didn't matter why the money was being spent. A broken window, a city being set ablaze, a riot, whatever it was. He said it didn't matter as long as the money could continue to move hands. I mean, it could be anything, like we just saw Krugman talking about a terrorist attack in New York City. Like I said, as long as the money was continuing to change hands, it was okay. But is that really the truth? What is it that Keynesians like Paul Krugman miss? And what I would say, the thing that they are missing, all these economists miss, is that an economy is not just a bunch of math equations. It's not just a bunch of math, but rather it's made up of millions and millions of individual people. In the United States, 330 individual people. All these individual people are living, they're working, and they're producing to serve other people. And in turn, they're trying to provide for themselves and their families. And this is the exact reason economies cannot be centrally planned, because you have 330 individual people, all with individual needs and desires. They're not all rational. Now, today I want vanilla ice cream. Tomorrow I want chocolate. And I don't know why I want chocolate. I just do. And that is what it is. And in an economy, the economy would move and pivot to my wants and needs and desires of 330 million people. But there's not, 5 people or a dozen people that can centrally plan what 330 million people are going to want. So anyway, remember this story over the next couple of weeks. As I predict, we're going to see the talking heads on TV. We're going to see all the economists talking about the quote unquote possible upside, the potential upside to the destruction. We're going to see them saying that maybe it's a good thing. We have all these job losses and now we can get all these people back to work. So we're going to be able to, stimulate the economy. But now you know the difference. Now, there's an awesome YouTube video that was put together years ago, and it's kind of like a parody video. I love it. I have it bookmarked on my channel. I'm going to put a link in the description. It's a rap battle between Keynes and Hayek. Of course, not the original guys. It's a parody, right? So Keynes from Keynesian economics and Hayek from Austrian economics, and they do a rap battle. And it's a super fun, funny video, but it really gives you kind of the understanding of what the difference between Keynesian economics and Austrian economics are. So I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's linked in the description, and check that out if you want to understand more. If you want some good entertainment, if you want to put a smile on your face, then I say check it out. And that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you like that video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, that's okay. Give me some thumbs down. But either way, I want to hear from you. Of course, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you've ever heard of this broken window parable before and what you think about it. I'd love to hear yes or no. I want to understand how big this is. And that's it. That's what I got for you today. To your success. I'm out.